Hello everybody, my name is Michael Stokes and I'm going to be going over my presentation, Staying Safe in a Digital World, Outsmarting Scams and Securing Your Data. So to start, as we all know, the internet is not very safe. There's thousands of scams out there and internet style attacks that people are just waiting to start attacking you with. So some of the objectives of this presentation is to raise awareness about scams and how you can identify them and protect yourself from them. I'm going to educate you on some of the best practices and tools you can use to preventing them. And I'm also going to teach you again how to identify them so therefore you can protect yourself from some different types of scams. So to start out with, we have to start with internet security. And what is internet security? Internet security involves measures to protect online data and systems. There's some key components of this. This includes firewalls, antivirus software, encryption, secure passwords, and awareness. So, internet security is essentially the whole picture of protecting yourself from not only scams, but any sort of breach or anything like that that could be harmful to you regarding personal information and financial data being leaked or lost. So, why is this important? Why does it matter? It matters because of the personal and organizational risks that are involved with such scams or online attacks or anything related to an attack that could be harmful to you or an organization. Some of these personal risks include your identity being stolen, information, personal information being stolen, financial loss and financial data being leaked. And this is very harmful to you personally. Some of the organizational risks include business interruption, scams and online attacks can interrupt your day-to-day business operations, can be very hurtful for your business in the long term. It also could bring legal liability. There could be legal trouble involved depending on what kind of scam it was, where it happened, when it happened, how it happened. So it could be very harmful for an organization as well. So some common types of online scams include phishing emails, fake tech support calls, or as we know, telemarketer calls, online shopping scams, social media impersonations, and as of late, there's been an abundance of SMS messaging scams. I'm sure most of y'all have seen the USPS postal service parcel scam where they're saying that you have a parcel that's stuck in customs, and I'm sure some of y'all have also seen as of recent the toll tax scams for a toll road. Those are some of the more recent style scams that's been going around. With these scams, they all have an anatomy, and they're all very similar in the way that they function and the way they work. With this example here is a phishing email, but they all follow pretty much the same concept. A lot of them have misspellings throughout, or sometimes just here and there within the scam or whatever, whether it be an email or a website or whatever it is, there's usually misspellings. There's also urgent language, act now to do this, or your data may have been leaked, give this information now. It's something that's urgent, that's giving you the urgency of the situation. Almost all of them contain suspicious links that'll sometimes they contain malware, sometimes they can take you to a false site where they can steal your information and financial data. So there's plenty of types of suspicious links that could be included within these types of scams. And most of all, there's unusual senders. You don't recognize where it's coming from. You've never seen it. That's one thing that can really catch your eye. First of all, of it might be a scam or some kind of online attack. So using that kind of anatomy, how can you spot them? Well, scams, again, like I say, they have a lot of key components within them. Most of the time, they're generic greetings, and they also almost always contain spelling or grammar mistakes. Whether it be just one letter, a phrase, something is usually wrong within the text of the scam. They also usually request unusually request with information that you typically wouldn't give out. They may request financial data, whatever it be. That's usually highly unusual with what they're requesting. And there's also pressure to act fast, act now or complete this now. They're trying to pressure you into doing whatever it is they're advertising, so to speak, and they're trying to persuade you that it's a very high risk and high urgency situation. And one of the biggest tips for spotting a scam is checking the URL. Most times URLs are you can identify that it's a scam just through one letter. For instance, if there's an online website for a bank, and let's just say it's bankonline.com, that's the website. A scam may be have a website, a scammer may have a website that's called Banks Online. See, they added an S. It's very subtle, but it is wrong, and most people won't catch that, and they'll just click on that website thinking it's the legit one, and it's not. So be sure to check the URLs before you click on it. A lot of times you can tell whether or not it's legit or not just by simply reading through the URL. Next, we have some best practices for internet security for defending yourself against a scam or online attack. First thing, use strong and unique passwords. The stronger the password, the harder it is to crack, the better off you are protecting yourself from somebody who may try to get your password. Next, enable two-factor authentication. This is really good in case somebody does have access to your password for some reason. There's two-factor authentication is in place, so they still have to go through other authentication processes in order to get to the information they're trying to get to. Next, be sure to keep your software updated. A lot of scammers use flaws and outdated software to perform their attacks, and if you have your software up to date, you've got the latest security patches, and you have the best option of protecting yourself from scams or online attacks. Next, use secure Wi-Fi. Most Wi-Fi nowadays is mostly secure. However, not all Wi-Fi is the most secure. Your home Wi-Fi may be more secure than, say, a coffee shop. So just be aware of the Wi-Fi you're using, how secure it may or may not be, and just be aware of whatever you're doing on that Wi-Fi could potentially be at risk of being stolen or leaked. And lastly, don't share sensitive data info via email or text message or anything that could easily be leaked and somebody could easily get access to. Emails, text messages, when you send those are out there forever. Somebody can access that, and there's no real way of getting that information back or deleting it indefinitely. It's always out there. Next, we have some tools that you can help protect yourself with. One of those is password managers. This is really good for managing and organizing your passwords so you know what passwords for what it goes to. Now, one thing to be aware of this is that password managers can be a flaw because if somebody gets access to your password manager, they can see all of your passwords. So just keep that in mind. Another thing is antivirus and anti-malware software. This is very good to use in case there's a phishing email, so to speak, and there's a suspicious link, and say you accidentally click on the link and it downloads malware. Well, if you have an anti-malware software, it'll protect your computer from getting infected from that malware that you downloaded. Next, we have VPNs or virtual private networks. These are very good for enhancing the security of your internet. There's an abundance of these that you can choose from nowadays. These are very easy to use and very cost effective, and they can really help secure your Wi-Fi and your internet much better than it would be just by default. Next, use secure browsers. I know this is kind of self-explanatory, but a lot of the browsers we use nowadays are pretty secure, but there are flaws in them. And so just be aware of, whatever it may be you're searching or looking for. Just be aware that it could be leaked or seen by somebody else. More of the major browsers such as Chrome and Microsoft Bing and those types of browsers, the larger ones, those are usually more secure than, say, Firefox or Yahoo or those kinds of browsers. Lastly, email filters is a very good thing to use. This will filter out any fake emails that you know are reoccurring, such as like phishing emails of the same from the same user or any sort of scam emails that you're getting. These are very good so you could filter out the bad emails so you won't have to worry about accidentally clicking on an email and being roped into a scam. So, even with the tools and the best practices above, there is still a possibility that you can get scammed. I mean, that's the world we live in today. So, if you have been scammed, don't panic, but act quickly. Best thing you can do is, first of all, change your passwords. If somebody has access to your password and they're using your password to get information, if you, as soon as you change it, they no longer have access to that password. Next, contact your bank or credit card companies. If there's any financial transactions that were placed during the scam, the banks or the credit card companies can work with you to get that money back or dispute the charge or whatever they can do to help you in your situation. Next, report the attack to the FTC and the FBI IC3. The FTC is the Federal Trade Commission. This is very good to verify or report to them so they can verify the website or email, whatever you were scammed by. They can investigate it and potentially shut it down depending on what they're finding. The FBI, the IC3 is the same, similar to what the FTC does. They investigate scam websites, emails, whatever it be, and potentially shut them down depending on what they find. Lastly, notify any contacts if accounts were used, depending on, say if you were using a computer that's got multiple users and a scammer got access to your computer, notify anybody who has a contact on that computer who uses that computer, notify anybody who would potentially be at harm from the scam. So overall, scams are everywhere. The best thing you could do is use the best practices and the tools above to protect yourself from being scammed and to identify them. And if you have been scammed, don't panic. Change your passwords, change, any sort of accounts that you may have been locked out of or they have lost access to. Change the password to those. If you have to, change, usernames or information, whatever it be that somebody may have access to. Contact your banks and your credit card companies for any sort of financial loss. And also be sure to report the scam to the FTC and the FBI IC3. They'll take complaints and they can certainly investigate whatever the scam was and look into it, potentially shutting it down so nobody else gets scammed. So just be vigilant. The internet is full of threats and attacks, and it's everyone's responsibility to protect themselves from all of the harmful attacks and scams that are out there. And the best thing you can do is be alert, be vigilant. Verify the websites you're using, verify emails before you click on them. Be sure that you verify everything that they're legit and real before you just go clicking on them. And protect yourself. Use the tools and the practices above, like I said, to protect yourself. The more you use those, the better protection you'll get. And obviously, as time goes on, protection will get better and better, and these scams will eventually get less and less as time goes on because we're learning. Which brings me to the last point. Education is the best defense. The more you know, the more you can protect yourself. The more you know about how to identify the scams, the easier it becomes to identify them and to protect yourself from them. So the more you know, the better off you are. This is my works cited page. Wanted to include this. If anybody wants to go and check out the FTC or the FBI IC3 websites, feel free to. These are great websites that you can learn more about scams, how to report them, what to include when you're reporting them. It's really good websites to check out. The Stay Safe Online is a really good website to check out. Gives you a lot of the good practices and tools to use for staying safe online. I also included the Test Out Security Pro website. I personally am taking a internet security uh, course, and the Security Pro course has got a lot of good information regarding internet security, network security, how to keep your organization and your personal internet safe and secure. And so, if anybody's wanting to take that course, feel free to take it. You can learn a lot about staying safe on the internet and keeping if you have an organization, keeping your organization secure and safe for you and your users and employees. So it's a really good course that I would encourage everybody to take. Thank you all for watching and listening. Hope everybody will take the tools and practices above and implement them into their own website searches and internet searches. And most of all, stay safe out there and be vigilant. Thank you.